US President Joe Biden is preparing to head to Israel on Wednesday. In meetings with the government, he's expected to reaffirm America's commitment to Israel's security. He'll also discuss Israel's war aims and strategy, as well as the need to protect the lives of civilians and enable aid to reach Gaza. It comes as Israel presses on with airstrikes and prepares for a ground invasion of the enclave.
It's first light, and the extent of Israel's military build-up on its border with Gaza becomes clearer. Troops battle-ready as they prepare for a ground offensive that could begin at any moment. Overnight, the Israeli Defense Forces continued their airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. They're targeting the militant Islamist group Hamas in retaliation for its deadly terror attacks on Israel. Israeli warships have also been firing missiles at Gaza from the sea, but the conflict is in danger of escalating further. In the north of Israel, troops have advanced close to the Lebanon-Israel border as tensions between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah increase. Israel has released footage of strikes targeting what it claims is military infrastructure in Lebanon belonging to Hezbollah. And it says it carried out an attack on what it described as a group of militants from Lebanon attempting to infiltrate a security fence. Iran, meanwhile, has raised the stakes further by warning of a preemptive attack against Israel. Before leaving Israel, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said the US president's visit this week is also a warning.
President Biden will underscore our crystal clear message to any actor, state or non-state, trying to take advantage of this crisis to attack Israel. Don't.
For now, though, Gaza, already under fire, waits for Israel and world powers to take the next step.
There have been more clashes on the border between Israel and Lebanon. Israeli forces and militant groups in Lebanon have engaged in a series of low-level skirmishes. DW's bureau chief in Beirut, Mohammed Shrater, gave us the latest.
Well, skirmishes and clashes on the Lebanese-Israeli borders continue for the 10th day in a row. After a relatively calm night, this morning tension rose again when the Israeli army struck what it said is a group of militants attempting an incursion into Israel. And this initiated a new round of cross-border shelling. We've seen so far that infiltration attempts from Lebanon have been led by Palestinian militants and not by members of the Lebanese Hezbollah. However, Hezbollah has been claiming the attacks on Israeli posts along the border. It is clear that the armed group is seeking to distract Israel at the northern front to kind of disrupt Israelis' military operations in Gaza and the south.
Tell us more about how this unrest could shape this conflict.
Well, everything on the Lebanese-Israeli front tells us that this front is really heating up. The rounds of skirmishes are becoming more intense. It's remarkable. In fact, the past 48 hours were the most intense in terms of quality and quantity since the cross-border shelling between Hezbollah and the Israeli army emerged 10 days ago. Now, Israel has been keen on saying that it has no interest in escalating the situation on its northern border, even though it expressed readiness for so, while Hezbollah from the other side has been vague about engaging in a large-scale war with Israel, although his attacks are still remarkably very calculated and within accepted rules of engagement, I would say. But this is a very risky game that both sides are playing that could really slip into a war at any moment.
Israel has evacuated residents in the north. What about Lebanon?
Well, we've seen, the evacuation of Lebanese citizens from southern towns was remarkable last week. We've seen and talked to families that are taking refuge now in schools in southern cities away from the borders. Other families just headed towards Beirut, left the southern region. But these are all personal initiatives, I would say. Lebanese have been stocking food and fuel supplies. The caretaker government has very limited resources to provide any sort of support at this level. The country is reeling from financial and economic collapse amid huge political divide.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date. Mohammed Shrater, their DW's bureau chief in Beirut.